Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Platinum League Pandemonium out of the map Ohana LE. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner, we do have a RuneK as the red Protoss, and down here in the bottom right, in the bottom right-hand corner. I know my left and my right, so I'm good at it. We have GreenTeaLeaf as the blue Terran. So, again, just ladder game, red versus blue. Still wish I could customize my color. I would love to be the pink Zerg every time I spawn on the field, because let's be honest, pink, best color? Psh, no, not even a question about that. Pink is the best color in the color spectrum. It is absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we have GreenTeaLeaf coming out here, dropping his supply depot at the top of his ramp. Perfectly fine, perfectly normal. We have the pylon going down next to the Nexus, which is of course what I like to do. It's the better choice, you know. It's a very minor, like maybe 10 minerals build order difference, but you know, always drop that pylon because you have sentries. You can wall off your ramp even if you don't wall it off with buildings. It doesn't even matter. Anyway, we have GreenTeaLeaf looking like he's going to be going for just a very standard barracks timing, not going for any sort of fast CC or anything crazy like that. Because of course fast CCs almost always fail. They don't work well. And something's wrong with hearing in my right ear. It's like watery, and it's kind of messing with me because that's where like noise is coming from ambiently in this room. So if I've seemed distracted, that's why. It's because for some reason the fan on my computer sounds like it's underwater. Very, very interesting stuff. That is right. I'm commentating my life currently. We have the assimilator coming up just at a very standard time. Everybody's playing PVT, you know, they're both playing the PVT matchup. No one's doing anything odd. Man, having Kadoink here makes these first few minutes so easy. Get spoiled sometimes. Get spoiled. Anyway, we do have the orbital commands coming up for GreenTeaLeaf, and actually, on the note of Kadoink, me and him are about to start a new project of videos. I think I actually talked about it on the live stream from the other night, but I completely forgot to mention in my last video. We are going to start doing some a new type of gameplay video. It's going to be kind of like a let's play, except they're primarily going to be done in single player, maybe multiplayer, but probably single player games. And it's basically going to be me and him racing through the game. So it's going to have two perspectives, one from me, one from him. We're going to be on the same Skype call. We're going to be taunting each other, possibly trying to scare each other. Trying to remind each other that they have stuff to do that needs to be done, you know, distract them from the gameplay for a little bit. But, you know, it's all part of the fun. The first game we're going to do is, of course, going to be Amnesia, because neither of us have played Amnesia. At least I don't think he's played Amnesia. He might be completely scamming me. Oh my god, he's hustling me. I know it. I know it. Son of a bitch. Man, he's definitely hustling me. But I guess we'll figure that out later. So yeah, it's going to be an Amnesia. It's going to be us screaming like little girls all the day. It's going to be so great. We have GreenTeaLeaf dropping down a bunker at his front. This is a Ballin Zealot. He's being very menacing to those Marines, and he does manage to snipe off an SCV, which is pretty nice. He's even going to escape with his life. He took a lot of hull damage, but honestly doesn't matter. You know, having an injured Zealot, it's not that big. They're fanatical enough where even once they lose a leg, they just actually use their mind to create like a side blade instead of a leg, so they actually deal more damage because they just roundhouse kick you with a sword leg, and it's pretty painful. It's like that girl from what's that movie, Planet Terror? Except she has a gun on her leg, doesn't she, instead of a leg? You know, that analogy still works. It's still like that. You have a deadly weapon for a leg. That makes sense. And we actually see him being sent to guard the Zalnaga Tower, which is of course good. You never want a full health zealot guarding it, because they'll just die, or they'll just die anyway. It's better to have your weakling zealots, you know, the zealots that are kind of culled from the herd, protecting it. Honestly, we have RuneK stacking up his buildings quite oddly. This is like strange. Usually people have their buildings much more spread out because it makes scans a lot harder to hit and a lot harder to get like a full count on your buildings. Like usually you'll see somebody put the Twilight Council like here, and 2 gateways here, and a gateway here in the Cyber Core, you know, probably right next to the first gateway. But it's still much more spread out. It's interesting that he's going for this sort of Twilight Council tech because it's going to be kind of interesting to see what he goes for. He does have a lot of zealots, and he seems like he's prioritizing zealots, so I would not be surprised to quite possibly see a charge upgrade, and there is the charge upgrade, of course, starting. We do have tanks and 3 marine production on the way, so even though he does have this extra barracks up, he's not using it to make marauders. It looks like he's just going to be going for solid marine play, which is something that I don't like quite as much against Protoss players. I think it's very useful to have marauders. However, against zealots, I guess I can see it. Marauders don't do any bonus damage versus zealots. They don't, the slow doesn't do a whole lot if the zealots have charge. I mean, it's noticeable, but it's not anything that will win or lose you the game, because you still can't kite them when they're charging. They still move way too fast. We see him going up to 6 gateways, which is quite a few. It's a reasonable number of gateways. Another pylon is being dropped, and this is really just like, nuke central. Oh man. GreenTeaLeaf, you better go for nukes and then just drop 2 nukes here. GreenTeaLeaf is actually going for a push right now. He's not going for nukes. Quite sadly, I know. We are all disappointed. But it looks like he's going to be sniping this Zealot off from the Zelnaga Tower and probably just sitting here patiently until Siege Tech finishes. I can't imagine him even trying to run into this before Siege Tech finishes. Now, of course, by the time Siege Tech is finished, if it is finished, that of course means that Charge will also be finished. So we're going to see a lot of Charge launch, which are of course better known as overpowered Zerglings. And they're going to be facing off against this Terran army, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see how it goes, because usually if you're going Marine tank, Zealots crush it. They absolutely destroy it. They're just so beefy. They don't even care that tanks are firing at them. It's hilarious. And Marines kind of like barely put dents in them too, because they do have a generic 1 armor, and 1 armor versus Marines is quite good. It launches their 6 damage attacks down to 5, which is a pretty big chunk. And there is that first shot from the siege tank. The Zealots are now moving in, and oh my god, they just do not care. They're just slicing and dicing them. Oh man, that was kind of nasty. One of the siege tanks does go down. Another one will go down soon. A lot of Zealots are actually getting cleaned up here, so the damage isn't awful for the Terran player. I mean, it's not the best, because he actually lost the gas, whereas his opponent hasn't made a gas unit this game. He is now getting a Stargate, which is going to be his first major investment into gas. And of course, losing mineral units is much easier than losing gas units. It's a lot less dangerous. And we do have this force from the Protoss moving in. It is quite a few Zealots. Now, of course, with this bunker here, it's going to be kind of awkward for the Protoss player to actually engage and win, especially if there's a pre-pull on the SCVs. If there isn't a pre-pull on the SCVs, then the bunker is basically not even going to exist. It's just going to get absolutely wrecked by Zealots, because Zealots actually do quite a bit of DPS. They do 8 damage, they do 16 damage every 1.2 seconds, so it's like 14 DPS, somewhere around that point. We do have GreenTeaLeaf setting up into a defensive posture. This Zealot is just going to swing around and check the third base, make sure there's nothing going down there, as he does have his own Nexus on the way. So it's nice to know, if you're ahead, if you're behind, if you're equal, about. And he is definitely at this point ahead. There is an orbital command here, but currently the only thing it's done is drop mules, so he is not yet taking the third base. And really, without these rocks being knocked down, he doesn't even look like he's posturing to take a third base. I'm kind of surprised to see these destructible rocks still up here for RuneK, just because it's so nice to be able to get your charge lots up the ramp and down the ramp and all over the place. Also, it helps with probe transfers if you're really that into number crunching how many minerals you lose just by running around here with 20 drones. It would actually probably be like a good 120, considering how fast they mine. Can somebody make one of those timers, like a calculator that just calculates how much mining time you lose, or how many potential minerals you lose by having your workers pulled off of the line for X amount of time? It wouldn't be that hard. You just really need to see how many times, or how long each probe is when it runs out to the mineral patch and then back, and then maybe based on this add on a secondary time, and it would just randomly assign them. So one is on its way back and one's on its way out, and then from there it just randomly assigns the second values. I might do that actually. That'd be kind of a fun project. And again, the only reason I'm talking about random stuff is because nothing is happening in this game currently. He's building a lot of barracks, quite standard. He's going for medevacs. He's going marine tank medevac. What an innovator. Oh my god. At least RuneK's doing something kind of interesting, kind of cool, kind of ooh. He's going for Phoenix Zealot, which is a strategy that a lot of people kind of write off because it's easy to write off, to be honest. However, it's a pretty good strategy. I mean, just think about it. They synergize quite well. Phoenixes kill everything in the air, Zealots kill everything on the ground. Phoenixes can lift up siege tanks, which is an unbelievably useful ability. And Zealots can kill stuff. They can also take a lot of damage, which is nice. We see Colossi on the way, which is basically like the missing link, because Colossi are the things that can kill all of these small, little, tiny marine units. And it looks like RuneK is kind of like Sin here. He has a large ball of Zealots. He has a second large ball of Zealots. He has some Phoenixes in the air. This engagement should be pretty easy for him, especially if GreenT is, you know, not smart enough to actually, and he actually runs into this, which it looks like he might be doing. Oh my god, he stims. He's trying to bait him in. Oh, he actually is going to bait him in. Oh my god, that's kind of a nasty massacre. Again, when you're playing with Zealots, you do not want to run them into a choke like this. Oh man, this is going to be disgusting. So many Zealots are losing their lives right now. And they are going to slam through all these Marines just because of the fact that all the target fire is going on to different targets and actually was going into the destructible rocks right there, which is a bit of an oopsie. Oopsie. But it does not matter. All of these siege tanks are going to be going down into these Phoenixes. Phoenixes, of course, extremely useful because they can lift up siege tanks and effectively counter their attacks. Here comes the next group of Zealots that will hopefully manage to finish off these tanks. And they're kind of just, they got left out of the party. One of these Phoenixes picked it up early, and the Zealots were not needed. The Zealots kind of just walked off and cried a little bit. We do have a couple of Colossi reaching the field and moving off to be with their Protoss buddies. Their Protoss buddies' army is, of course, slightly under after that last attack. But then again, so is the Terran's army. Actually, the Terran's army is fairly massive as far as Marine count goes. That's probably because he's cranking off of a lot of barracks, and 3 of them have reactors. But, you know, that doesn't matter because it's all Marines, and Marines are basically just cannon fodder once Colossi hit the fields, especially double Colossi production. Double Colossi production is pretty ridiculous with range even. They will basically get roasty, toasty fried right off the battlefield as soon as they step up to try to deal any amount of damage, because like 4 Colossus will one-shot entire swaths of Marines. It'll just be like, and then they die. And that's exactly the sound effect. Actually, I was the voice that Blizzard hired to voice the Marines burning to death. I hope you guys picked up on that. It was an interesting cameo for me. We do have GreenTeaLeaf moving, or GreenTeaLeaf. I think I've been calling him GreenTeaLeaf like all game. I should just start calling the leaf green. You know, go like full Pokemon on this. That'd be great. I don't think I'm actually gonna do it though. I'll probably forget about it in like 2 minutes. 2 minutes might be a bit generous even. We have an engagement looking like it wants to happen. RuneK, of course, had the good fortune of having this observer here to see this engagement coming out and see this GreenTeaLeaf's army moving out. However, he's not going to manage to catch them on this side of the pass. They are going to be diving into the 3rd base. Some Marines running in there, and here comes the Protoss army. I bet you do not see them coming from that angle. All of the Marines get stimmed, and they are just getting absolutely lined up by these Colossi. There's a lot of Marines on the other side. They just got absolutely thrown down, and 1 Colossi goes down, and I think that will be the only casualty, or the only major casualty at least, for the Protoss players. He did lose plenty of Zealots. He lost a couple of Phoenixes, but the 1 Colossi was the only thing that really dealt any damage, and 1 Colossi out of 4 is not huge, especially when you're cranking off of double robos like our friend up here, RuneK, is. We see GreenTeaLeaf still building. He only has 3 expansions, whereas the 4th is just about to finish up for RuneK, so he's still a little bit behind economically. He's about to mine out his main, which is quite annoying. RuneK has essentially already hit that point as well, so both players not doing well on their main base. However, this is going to be RuneK's 3rd base, essentially, if you think about it. You know, it's his 3rd mining base. And we do have the attack coming in onto the 3rd from RuneK, and I'm not sure what... I don't think GreenTeaLeaf has enough to defend this. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot. And this is quite a few Zealots. Oh my god. Oh my god, so many SCVs just got absolutely roasted. That was pretty awesome. It looks like the Phoenixes are trying to deal with the Orbals. However, the Vikings are going to come out in the defense of them. And of course, Vikings do quite a nice job versus Phoenixes. Phoenixes only have bonus damage versus light units, and Vikings are not light. We do have a couple of Colossi coming out here, and that is going to bring his total Colossus count up to 5. He has +3/+3 on the way, which is going to be quite the handy upgrade to own for RuneK's Protoss units. +3/+3 is obviously the highest level of upgrade you can hit. It looks like the Marines are only at 2/2, which, you know, it's not 3/3, and you really need to be on the same level as that Protoss player, especially in a situation like this. And it looks like we do have a Marine drop on the way, and this is going to deal quite nicely with at least some of these buildings. Did he get one of the forges? No, but there's one forge there, and the other forge is right there. Oh, no. Yeah, there's 2 forges. They're kind of in the back. They're a little bit hidden. It's not going to be easy for them to find this. And it looks like the Marines are now hot dropping into the natural, and it's not going to go well. They're going to kill off a couple of those. They're not going to be absolutely useless, but then they're just going to get nommed by Psyblades, because of course Psyblades are pretty strong. Zealot, pretty good unit. Not best unit, pretty good. We have 8 Marines, and he's finally kicked into Marauder production. However, at this point, Marauder production does not freaking matter because there's no there's no Stalkers on the field, and these Zealots are more heavily upgraded than almost anything. I'm surprised that RuneK hasn't gone around and destroyed some of these destructible rocks, purely because his army will work so much better if it is not closed off at any sort of choke point. I definitely would have expected him to kill off the destructible rocks leading into his opponent's third down there. We have an engagement happening here, and all of the Marines are getting roasty toasty, because that's kind of what happens. All the Marauders getting surrounded by Zealots. They're dying with Valor. Not that much Valor. I mean, they're still getting completely destroyed. However, you know, they have some courage there. We do have +3/+3, and actually +3 air attacks. Oh man, these Vikings actually deal quite a bit of damage right now, because they are at +2 air weapons. Which gives them 16 damage versus armored, so they kill a Colossus in approximately 20 hits. Wait, is that 2? Yeah, it's 2 attacks, so like 32 damage per hit. So they kill them off in like 10, which is it's a fair amount to kill off a unit, and that's really what you want to be hitting. But +3 is already finished. +1 armor or shield upgrades is already actually on the way. And shield upgrades is kind of like the thing that Protoss go for if they have nothing else in the world to go for, which is really the position where RuneK has hit. I'm surprised he hasn't added on storms into this army, you know, High Templar, because High Templar are actually extremely good against bio units, and it looks like GreenTeaLeaf has basically completely shifted into a bio force, which is really the kind of standard late game army for Terrans. Like, even if you start out Marine tank or sometimes even mech, a lot of people will switch into bio just because it's so much more maneuverable and it's so much easier to use than tech with your siege tank lines, and you're having to like move Thors, which move slow as hell. It looks like we do have quite a few Zealots still in this army. This is still, oh my god, that's so many Zealots. It's like 30 Zealots. That's kind of ridiculous. But he is going to be moving into like this kind of awkward spot, which he always seems to get caught on. He is finally taking out these rocks, which is quite nice. And these rocks are going to die almost instantly. A stim goes off, and that's not really the point where you needed a stim. Right now is the point where you need a stim, and he's just getting absolutely destroyed because there's 6 Colossi. He does not have nearly the Viking numbers to keep up with it. I would not be surprised to see a tap out any time here, because that was just so cost effective for the Protoss. And there is the GG. He's just dropping G's all over the place. I would like to thank you all for watching this. If you'd like any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, if you'd like your games commentated, you can send them on to boisteroussc2@gmail.com. I apologize if this game goes up late, but I have a variety of things to do today that need to be done, so it's probably going to be up at like 1 in the morning. Actually, I can probably get it up by 9, but it might be up at 1 in the morning. You never know. I'm kind of crazy like that. So anyway, I would like to thank you all for watching this, and have a good day.